So welcome back. We're in chapter 8, and specifically going to introduce today some statistics and some observations around what I call our American culture of violence. As mentioned, I think a couple of episodes ago, from 2014 through 2019, on average, one American killed another American with a gun 40 times every day. Okay, so there was murder committed 40 times a day with a gun. Another 63 Americans killed themselves with a gun, so a suicide with a gun every day. And then add to that, another 62 Americans committed suicide, took their own lives by some other means other than a gun. So that's 103 gunshot deaths and 125 suicide deaths on average per day in America. Again, that's over the 6 years, 2014 through 2019. During the pandemic, 2020 saw the largest one-year increase on record in homicides from all causes, with more than 4,901 greater than in 2019. And it was the highest number of gun violence homicides, 19,436, over the last 20 years. Right? This was complemented by an additional 24,000 plus suicides by gun. So we already had a major issue with violence, including but not limited to gun violence, prior to the pandemic, and the stressors brought on by the pandemic only exacerbated that violence. So in terms of that violence, I want to step back out and speak a little bit about our perception of violence as a country. So after the towers came down and the Pentagon was damaged and the fourth hijacked jet crashed in Pennsylvania, Representative Eric Cantor said this in Congress, as many people in Congress were speaking out against this attack on the United States. And he was speaking about the resolution to authorize the president to do whatever was necessary to combat terrorism. So, quote, "I rise today in support of this resolution to authorize the use of United States armed forces against those responsible for the recent attacks launched against the United States. Civilized society has long sought to end the use of violence, but the perpetrators of terrorism and the states that harbor them are the enemies of civilized society. They only understand the use of force, and the time has come to speak to them on their terms." So I'm quoting Representative Cantor, but not singling him out for any reason. Many other people in Congress on both sides of the political aisle said similar things. But how might we reconcile his teasing apart those people as being uncivilized and our being civilized as a culture? How can we reconcile that language with our own killing of civilians? I'm going to give you a list here. At Wounded Knee, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Dresden, in Tokyo, in Hiroshima, in Nagasaki, in Vietnam, in Afghanistan, okay, in Iraq. And then that's what we did as a country elsewhere. How about every day? Littleton, Atlanta, Orlando, Charleston, Newtown, Pittsburgh, Charlotte, Red Lake, Annapolis, Las Vegas, Minneapolis, Buffalo, Uvalde, just to name a few locations. All right. So what will it take for us to acknowledge and own this part of our own American nightmare? Right? How exactly do we qualify as civilized amid these increasingly normalized violent acts? And again, this is in no way intended, obviously, to endorse or ignore the attacks of 9/11. Okay. But it's not that, we're this outstanding nation that would never do something like that. And how could somebody do that to us? We're just one other part of this larger problem of violence, and we need to address our own first. So thank you for tuning in. See you the next time.